Hello students, today we will discuss the topic arrays within class. So today I am covering it in a copy because in arrays within class we will discuss about a program, and this program is a little bit large, so I cannot cover it in the board. So that's why I have to use the copy because the program is too much large. In board I cannot cover and you will not understand also. So that's why I have taken the help of copy and book today. So our topic is what? Arrays within class. Means the class members can be used as arrays also. We have seen that we have used variables as class members, and what we know that class members are nothing but the characteristics of a class that are suggested by the variables. Now in spite of these variables we can use arrays also. Now we will see how we will use this array under the class. So a class can have an array as its member variable. An array in a class can be private or public data member of the class. So a member variable, what we know that the member of the class are nothing but the variable of a class. So the member variable can also be used as array within class. So an array in a class can be private, it can be private or public data member, because I have already told you that in this chapter we will be discussing about the private and public access specifier. In the inheritance chapter we will discuss about the protected, but for now we will discuss the private and the public access specifier only. So if an array happens to be a private data member of the class, then only the member functions of the class can access it. So what we know that if my data member, that is the variable inside the class which I am using as a data member, if that variable is used under the private section of a class, then only the member function of that class can access that private member. From anywhere in the program outside the from anywhere outside the class we cannot access those private data members. We can only access those private data members with the help of whom? With the help of the member function of the class itself. Okay, so then only the member functions of the class can access it. Okay, so member functions of the class are able to access only those private data member. On the other hand, if an array is a public data member of the class, it can be accessed directly using object of this class type. But you remember, if it is private, then we require the member function to access it. But if my data member is public, then what we will do? If the data member is public in the class, then it can be directly accessed using the objects of the class. Objects are what? Objects are nothing but the class variables. So using the object we can directly access those public members. But private members is not directly accessible. It can only be accessed through the member functions of the class. Okay. So now you consider this one. A small class definition we are taking. Suppose example X array. X array is what? This is the name of the class, and inside this class we have assumed one array, that is ARR 10. The size of the array is 10. This is, in this we have not specified any access specifier. Why? What this suggests? This suggests that this data member is private. That's why we have not written any access specifier before this declaration. Okay, now you see under the public section we have declared two functions. One is largest, another is sum. Now you see one thing, what it has told here, the variable ARR10 is a private data member. From the above definition we can say that this ARR10 is what? This is a private data member. Now the private data member of whom? This X array class. This X array is the name of the class. Now it can be accessed only through the member function largest and sum, like any other member variable. Now this ARR10 cannot be directly accessed from anywhere in the program. In order to access this data member we require the help of these functions. So only these member functions are able to access this data member because it is private. Okay, so any operations can be performed on the array ARR, but only through the member functions. So you can perform any function in this ARR, this array, but since it is a private data member, so with the help of the member function only we are able to do any operation in this data member. This you remember, okay? So now let us consider following example program that stores price list of 50 items in an array and can print the largest price and sum of all these items. Now we will see our program through which we will understand that how we are using these arrays within a class. Our example is what? In this example we will write a program which will store price list of 50 items. It will store the prices of 50 items in the array and it will print the largest price, means among these 50 items whose item is having the largest price, this largest price will be printed, and then we will print the sum of all the 50 sum of the prices of all the 50 items. So this is the program that we will do now, okay? So now we will see the program. What it is telling you, see, program using a class to store price list of 50 items and to print the largest price as well as the sum of all the prices. So for this, first we will include the header file iostream.h. Next we will define a class. Suppose item, you can give any name to this class. This is up to you. This is up to the user what he is to give the name of the class. So here suppose we have taken item, but you remember the item that you have given exactly in the same way you have to use in the program this name, okay? So class item, then second bracket, this is my class definition, okay, here. So first here two data members are there because we require only two data members, where one will store the item codes and another will store what? Item prices. We require only these two data members. So one is int item code. The item will be having some codes, okay, which will uniquely identify each and every item. So there will be certain codes. So for that item code, and in the array list 50, and float item price, this is also 50, means this will store according to the item code. The item code will be given some prices, will be stored some prices. Suppose item 101 is having price 50, item 102 is having price 80. So like this it will be stored in both the arrays, here item code and here price for 50, okay? Now you see in the public section we have used 4 member functions, because in the program it is told that what we have to print the largest price as well as sum of the prices, okay? So for this, first we require the input. In order to get any output, first input is required, necessary. So how we will give the input? Suppose we have taken one member function initialize, okay? So void initialize void. So why we have taken the return type as void? Because here the user will give only input, it will not return anything. So that's why void. Void means null. Second function we have taken float largest. So here return type is float because we have to print the largest value, so it will return something. So that's why float. Float largest. Why float? Because price we have taken the data type as float. Now float sum means all the prices that will be stored in the array, all that prices we need to sum up. So for that we have again suggested one member function sum, and in this member function the return type is again float. Then void display items, this will display all the item along with the code and the price, okay, it will display. And for this displaying of the result we don't require any return type, because it will not return anything, it will just print on the screen that we require. So that's why null, again void. And inside this one you see in the initialize we have taken void, because here we will not give any parameter. In the largest also we will not give any parameter, in the sum also we will not give any parameter, and the display also we will not give any parameter. So in the parameter or the argument list here we have kept empty, that is void, okay? Now here my class definition is over. Now we move on to the definitions. Okay, this is the class definition. Now we move on to the definition of the member functions. Now you see, after we have closed the bracket, that is my class is over, then we are defining the member function. That's why this is a type of definition, member function definition outside the class. This is an example of outside the class. So this is not an inline member function. Inline member function is possible only when we will define the member function inside the class itself, but here we are defining the member function outside the class. So this is outside the class, this is the member function definition outside the class. That's why we have used the scope resolution operator also. Okay, now first you see, this will be my return type is what? Void, first one. So that's why void, then name of the class, then scope resolution operator, then function name. So void, then what is the name? Exactly you have to write the same. First I is capital, then all other are small. Here also you have to write the same. First one letter is capital, then all other are small. Then scope resolution operator, then we have suggested the function name. Then inside this, user has to give the input of 50 items. So for these 50 items, I have already discussed that whenever you store something in the array, we require for loop for that. That's why for int I equal to 0 and I will go up to 50, it will store 50 items, and then one by one it will go on storing the items. Cout what? Item number, then I plus 1 means item number. Here I is considered 0 because array index always starts from 0, that I have already told you. So for item number 0 is not an appropriate thing. So in order to display this one, item number 1, we have used I plus 1. Okay, item number 1, first it will display, then cout \n, enter item code, cin. I will also show you the output, how this will occur, how this output will be carried out. First I am just showing you how this program is written. Then one by one we will enter the item code. For that we have used this one. Then one by one we will use enter the item price. For this we have used this one. Okay, this is the definition of the member function initialize. Okay, now you come here, this is the definition for your item. This is the definition for the member function largest. Okay, we have to find the largest price among all the 50 items. So for this float item, you see largest void we have taken, then float large equal to it price 0. Okay, this all the thing I will discuss with you just now. Just you see this one. For calculating the largest value in an array, what we generally do, I have already given you one program for finding out the largest value of an array. For that what we do, first we store the very first element of the array inside a variable large. Okay, then we go from the second item. First item is put in the large, one variable named large. You can take any other variable also, and then from the second item of the array we go on traversing the array and we go on comparing with the large value. Means the very first item of the array is put in the large, and then all the other values of the array are compared with the large one by one. Okay, if the very first value is the largest item, then this condition will become false. Okay, then nothing will replace that large value. But if while traversing the array any other element is found largest than this large variable, then immediately it is replaced by that one. So here you see we have used one condition, that if large is less than it price I, for which index that price is larger than this large value, and that index data will be stored in the large, and then it will return the large value. Okay, this we will see elaborately. Okay, now you see float item sum. Sum is having what? Float. That's why we have used here the return type as float item and then sum. Okay, so for sum we have already discussed that in order to sum up something, first we initialize sum to 0. That's why we have initialized it to 0. Now for int it will start from 0 and it will go on traversing up to 50, means all the array indexes, and then sum equal to sum plus it price I, means price value is in the 0th index, this price will be added to sum, then in the first index this data will be added to sum, then in the second index this data will be added to sum, and it will go on storing in the sum, means it will go on adding the price values, and this we require the total sum of the prices, and then it will return the sum when the traversing will be over. Okay, now next function definition is display item. For display item we have put the return type as void, that's why here also we have suggested that void item display items. Then here inside this function we have listed that cout code price, this will display code price, and it will start traversing from index 0 to index 50, and it will just display all the item codes that the array is having and the item price that the array is storing. Okay, this item code array is storing the codes of the item, all the codes of the array item, this will be displayed, and this IT price is storing all the prices of that elements of the array. Okay, so this will be displayed, and the cout m. Now you see, this was all about the class, this was all about the class definition that we have discussed. Okay, now come to our main program. We have always learned that our program always starts from the main. So in the main, what we have found, this is just a definition of the class, all the member functions, how we have used this member function, then member definition, all these things we have discussed. Now our main program will always start, our program execution will always start from this main. Okay, this you remember. Now in the main, what we have got, item order. So what is this? This item is nothing but the name of the class, and this item is having one variable order. So this order is what? This order is the variable of the class, means the object of the class. This order is what? This order is the object of item, it is the object, and through this object what we will do, through this object we will access all the public members, not the private members. Private members will be accessed through this will be accessed through these member functions, but through this object we will access the public members of the class. Okay, so first you see, in the first this is what this object is initialized for the class, this object is taken as the class object. Okay, class variable. Now order dot initialize it, the control of the program will get the first line as order dot initialize. Now what it will do, it will, when it will see that order is what, order is the object, and it is invoking home initialize. First it will see that this line is valid or not, initialize is public or not. If it is not public, then this will show error. Now you go to program, this initialize where we have defined under the public section. So this means this initialize is public, so this line is valid. Okay, valid means order dot initialize means it will invoke which one, it will invoke the definition of initialization, function definition, it will invoke this one. So from here my program has gone where, here. Okay, my program is now here. So here what it is getting, for int I equal to 0, I less than, suppose we consider our program for 5 cases, because 50 will be large value for you to understand and it will be time consuming. So let us consider 5 items in the array index. So it will start going from 0th index and it will traverse up to 50. So 5. So let us take the 5 values. Okay, so here you see we are taking those 5 values in the index. So our array index will be how, this 0 is the first index, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. From 0 to 4, this is our index of the array for storing 5 elements. Now you see here it is saying that cout \n item number I plus 1. Now I am showing you the output. This is my output screen. Okay, consider this as the output screen. So first what it will display, \n means next line, item number I plus 1. I is what, 0, I plus 1 means 1. So it will display what, item number 1. Okay, it will display like this. Then Cout we are getting, sorry, item number, then it is getting colon, then 1. Okay, now Cout, you see \n, now you see Cout \n, enter item code. So we have to enter certain item code. For this, here we are getting enter item code. So suppose we have considered 101. Okay, now again you come here, item code you see in the ith index. So I is what? 0. So in the 0th index we will store item code. So this 101 will be stored where? In the 0th index. Now you again come here, enter item price. So here it will display enter item price. So the user will give some input, suppose 52. So this index is for item code, and another index is there for item price. This is also having what? 5 places. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this 52 will be stored where? Index IT price I, means 0th index. So in the 0th index we will store this 52. Okay, now you see here we have written this one, this \n means it will go to next line, then again it will go to this one, and here i's value will be incremented, means here what will be from 0 it will be 1, and item number will be what? Item number will be 1 plus 1, that is 2. Enter item code, now index will become 1, means now the value will be stored in our first index. So like this it will go on continuing. Now here it will come item number 2, enter item code 102, enter item price 60. So you see in the first index 102 will go, and here in the first index 60 will go. Okay, then again item number 3, enter item code 103, enter item price 70. So here you see it will come 103 and here it will come 70. Similarly, suppose 104, 105, and let us assume 65 here and 62 here. Okay, so these are item number 4 and item number, so I am not writing. Okay, you assume this one as 104 and the price is 65 as we have written here. Then item number 5, then here code is 105 and item price is 62. Okay, now you see this function definition is over. Okay, here now my for loop, this condition will become false. Now this condition will become false means it will come out of the loop, and where it will go from here, it will again go to my main program. So in the main program you see this initialize part is over. Now it will go to next line, and here it will store what? Here it will take two variables, one is total, one is biggest. So let us consider here it will take one variable total and one variable biggest. Okay, these two variables it will take. Clear? Now you see int ch equal to 0. This we have considered ch equal to 0, one ch. Then you see do. I have already told you that since it is a menu driven program, and menu driven program we always use do while loop. So in the menu driven program what we are getting? Cout main menu, 1 display largest price, display sum of prices, display item list, enter your choice 1 2 3, see in choice. So this menu will be displayed in the output screen. So how my output screen will look like now? Main menu, then it will get one for what? One for display largest price, display sum of price. One is display largest price. This menu will be shown. Okay, display largest price. Number 2, display sum of prices. third it will show display item list, display item list, then enter your choice. So user will enter any of the choice from 1 to 3, ranging from 1 to 3. Okay, it will enter any of the choice. Suppose the choice is 1. Suppose user has entered 1. So what will happen? You see, for choice 1, this 1 will go to switch ch1. So it will go to case 1. You see, we have defined 3 cases here. One is case 1, one is case 2, and one is case 3. In the case 1, what is our case 1? Display largest price. So when user has chosen this value 1, means it has to display the largest price. For this, what we have done here, we have made function call. How function call we have made? Biggest equal to, you see, order dot largest, means where it will go? It will go to the definition where the largest is defined. It will go here. Okay, and here you see IT price 0th position. In this 0th index, what the value is there, this will be stored where? In the large. So you see, in the item price, in the 0th index, what it is? 52. So 52 will come to where? This large. We are using one variable large, and this 52 will be stored in the large. Okay, now you see, for int I equals to 1. Now first 0th index 1 we have stored here. Now my search will start from the first index and it will continue to the last one. Okay, so that's why int I equals to 1. So it will start searching from 1. Okay, so from 1 it will go up to the index number 4. So if large less than IT price I, it will go on comparing, means this large value is compared with each and every index. First, this large value will be compared to index number 1. You see, large value is small, so immediately it will be replaced by 60. Okay, here you see, when the large value is small, the index where the value is greater, that value will be stored in the large. So what we have done, you see, in the first index the value is greater than the large one, 52. So we have stored this 60 in the large by replacing 52. Now you see, in the next index 70 is large, so again it is replaced. Then you see 65 is small, so no replacement. Then 62 is also smaller than 70, so no replacement. So what we have got, the large value 70. So here you see return large. So what is the value of large? 70. So this return large will go where? This will go to the main program, and this function is returning what? 70. This 70 will be stored where? In the biggest. Okay, so now see out, the largest price is biggest, largest price is 70. So in the output screen, what we will do, enter our choice. We have entered this one, so the largest, this will print the largest price is 70. I have showed how we have got this one 70. Now suppose again this menu will be displayed. Okay, I am not showing you again and again. Again this menu will be displayed. I am showing you from enter your choice. Okay, so enter your choice. Again menu will come, enter your choice. This is our output screen. Okay, enter your choice. Suppose now the user has entered 2. So for 2, what it will do, you see, this case 2 is telling what? Total equal to order dot sum, means it will go to order dot sum. So where my order dot sum is defined? Here you see. Now sum value will stored as 0. So let us take one sum. So biggest we have got 70 here. Okay, now sum value we are first initializing to 0. Now you see here, this is telling from index 0 it will go to, suppose this is 5, we are assuming for 5 values. So up to it will go to index 4. Then sum equal to sum plus IT price I, means first 0th index value will be added to sum. So what is the 0th value? 52. So 0 plus 52. So it will come out to be 52. Okay, then again it will go. Now index value will be 1. So what is the data in the index 1? 60. So this 60 will be added to sum. So 52 we have got, then again 60. Then sum will be come out to be 112. Then in the second index 70, then 70 will be added. We will go on adding. Okay, 8 1. Then third index value, that is 65. 5 plus 2 7, 6 8 14 4, carry 1 2, 247. Okay, then 247 we will add this fourth index value, that is 62. 9 10, carry 1 309. So after this our index is over, means our array is over. So this condition will become false and it will come out of the loop, and it will return what? It will return sum. Now what is the value of my sum? The last value of sum is 309. Okay, so this 309 will go where? This 309 will go here in our main program. So our main program will be having this 309, and this 309 will be stored in total. Okay, so now it is displaying Cout the sum of prices is total. So we will go here again in the output screen. Total is having 309, and in the output the total price is, it will display what? 309. Clear? Now you see from here it will again go to main program. Okay, in the main program we are now getting what? Case 3. No, it will again go to our main menu. Enter your choice. Main menu will be, it will show, I am not showing the main value, main menu. So enter your choice. Here it will come. So suppose we are now writing 3. We are giving the choice, user is giving the choice 3. So for 3, what it will do? You see here, for choice 3, what it will do? Order dot display item. So it will go to the definition where this display item is there. So here you see code price. So here it will come code price in our output screen. Then it will find that int I equal to 0, it will traverse the whole array. Then Cout item code, and in the next line it will display item code, and then it will get tab. Tab means after some space, after one tab it will display the price. So how it will come? So code price, it will come like this. First 101, because it is stored in the index 0. Okay, and in this index, IT price index, what is the value in the 0th index? 52. So after one tab it will give 52. Okay, then again it will go to index 1. Here index 1 is 102 and here index 1 is 60. So it will display 102 60. Similarly it will display 103 70, 104 is 65, and 105 is 62. Like this it will display. So our display part is also over. So now again suppose user will give, again main menu will be displayed, and it will ask enter the user enter your choice. So suppose user is now entering 4. After 3 user is entering 4. Now you see it will again go to main program, and it will see that we have only case 1 2 3. And in the while loop also, when it will come out of the loop, it will see that choice is from 1 to 3 only. There is no place for 4, 5, 6, 7. There is no place for that values. So it will go where? It will go to the default one. And default it is getting wrong choice, and break means it is coming out of the loop. So what it will do, when we will enter 4 or any other number, it will simply display wrong choice, and it will stop the program here. Okay, so whenever up to 3, because in the choice also we have suggested here while choice from 1 to 3 only, because our cases are from 1 to 3. So if the user is entering any value, in spite of this 1 to 3 value, if the user enters any other value, then it will go to the default one, that is wrong choice, and it will simply come out of the loop and stop the program. So this is how we will write this program for the array, the program using a class to store price list of 50 items and to print the largest price as well as the sum of all the prices. So this is how we will write the program. Okay, clear?